Morning Uganda.
Hello.
Well, it is Wednesday, and on Wednesday we crush on women. And today, as a woman, I would like to speak to fellow women out there. We appreciate the job that you do. And yesterday I talked about reinventing the wheel so that you do not stay stagnant in the same place all across the board. But today I also want to encourage a woman out there to remember that you cannot have it all. You cannot have it all at the same time and win at all of it. What am I saying? You can be a mom and a perfect mom, but probably in other facets of your life, there is something that is not going well. It doesn't mean that you're failing, it means that you're human. So when you are killing it at work, for lack of a better word, maybe some part of you at home may be missing something. It doesn't mean you're a failure, but you just keep going and try to balance everything that you're doing. But in the event that you can't balance it all, focus on one thing that matters the most, and in most cases it is usually family and the children, and then other things will follow. Good morning, my name is Olive Monica Najuma. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Good Morning Uganda, the second day of October 2024. We have launched into the bar months, and going forward, anything goes. Anything goes in terms of success, in terms of checking off your goals, and in terms of focusing to be a better person than you were yesterday. And speaking about a better person, now yesterday in Parliament, Richard Lumo, who is the Mityana South Member of Parliament, presented the Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill 2024, in which he is seeking to provide for the election of the leader of opposition. And according to Lumo, he says, what if we get to a point as Uganda and we have, let's say, 30 members of parliament from the Democratic Party and also 30 members of parliament from the National Unity Platform Party, and the current law says that the party that has the most numbers of members of parliament gets to choose their leader of opposition. So he says, what if we come to a moment where the numbers are equal or almost equal? Then what? So he's proposing that the opposition be given a right to choose their own leader. This has, of course, sent tongues wagging, because many people are against it, but also others are like, maybe finally this is the way to go. I wonder where you are, my viewer, on this, and I wonder where Jerome Paul is on this. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm doing okay.
I'm doing okay because it's a new month.
Yes.
And obviously we're supposed to have that energy. With this, with that report of the administration bill being tabled in Parliament,
yes.
It is very controversial, simply because not so many members of Parliament, especially from the opposition, are buying the idea of the same. But again, he's right when he says that if at all we reach a moment where the numbers of, let's say, DP or NUP are the same,
Or almost.
Well, almost the same.
Yes.
But again, I do not want us to look at this from an if clause kind
Okay.
of situation that if this happens, this has to happen. And I think over the years, as it has always been, many of the opposition parties, especially those who are having the highest number, have always been benefiting from the same. My sentiments and my own opinion in regards to this, I don't know how this is going to pan out, but I would suggest it remained the way it was. But when it comes to voting for their own, Honorable Richard Lumu, also has his point. And it also needs to be heard. Because if he feels we need to first of all vote, or because there are members of parliament from the opposition who at times may not be happy with the leader of opposition. And let's face it, this year we've seen the chaos within the leader of opposition, his office.
Exactly.
From change of the new law since the time of, this entire bit of the opposition in parliament today has been really looked into. But besides that, Olive, it being Woman Crush Wednesday, there has been something that also caught my attention. I've been following something coming in from social media, and this particular one has been advice of fellow women giving fellow women advice. And the advice that they've been giving has been dubbed girl to girl. And what they've been giving as a piece of advice is to always remind these fellow women that, you know what? If I told you to succeed in life, these are things you're not supposed to be doing. If I told you to succeed in life, these are things you're supposed to be doing. And I've been following the same conversation online, and it is something that has inspired my morning today, because as I was refreshing through the different timelines, especially on the X app this morning, seeing many women reminding and also motivating fellow women, it is something that we need to be pushing for, and it's something that our society in Uganda should as well be pushing for moving forward.
Wow, interesting perspective, Joram. But now there is so much more coming in, especially between Israel and Gaza. And of course, Israel says they will respond to Iran missile attacks. We have footage showing rockets being shot into Jerusalem, as you can see over there. And this begs for the question, how many lives are going to be lost in these counter rockets? But it's important to also note that Israel has been bombing Gaza to smithereens over the past couple of days, and now they are retaliating. But now it is saying that they are going to respond.
And more developments between the Israel-Gaza war is that many people who are following the same, many of the war analysts, or those who are the political analysts, who are just worried, saying that this can spark off a World War III. These are fears, and of course more theories that have been discussed over the years, saying that anything can lead to this level of war, especially and simply because of how influential the Western powers and the Eastern powers are also putting their efforts in this. But also you should remember that over the weekend, when the Prime Minister, that is Netanyahu, was addressing the United Nations Assembly, quite a number of delegates stormed out.
Yes.
While he was,
the minute he was announced to come on stage.
Exactly.
Yes.
And many people opened up conversations on, meaning the delegates at the United Nations were against whatever,
the war.
Whatever is happening. But then there is nothing changing after that, because it's just after 48 hours and these developments continue to come. Yeah,
the developments keep coming in, and after a barrage of ballistic missiles at the key military and security targets in Israel, now Israel officials are promising to retaliate. I'll be giving you more details regarding that story, and I would like to now check on Robert Chirabo. Good morning.
Hello there, how are you?
I'm great, how are you?
You must be great today. How is so?
Lovely.
Well, I would also have loved to ask you how is our viewer, but you may not know the medium, otherwise how they are. But whatever it is, we just hope you had a lovely night, and we are here to correct your morning with relevant information that you can also sound like comments. Now, for me, I'm not going to go to Israel. there's something very passionate that is happening where I feel our government must be very, very careful as we move forward. Yet it is very important. Now what is this? This is the registration of coffee value chain act. Uganda, and also we have to ensure that they are registered so that this coffee is not banned from the European Union market. Now this was launched yesterday by Minister Honorable Frank Mweba. They launched this yesterday. But what is very interesting is the deadline on 30th December this very year. Are we going to be able to register all the coffee farmers in Uganda, or are we going to lose this market? And if we lose this market, that will be very dangerous for us, because we must recall that our coffee, we do not consume much of it. Most of it is not consumed by Uganda. So if the European Union, that bloc, came out and said that for us to buy your coffee, we must ensure it's not being grown in areas where there was deforestation for you to plant that coffee. And he said they use all sorts of technology, like the Google map, to find out that this coffee that was sent to them was not grown in such areas. However, it doesn't go to only coffee. This will also apply to cocoa, palm oil, rubber, soya, wood, as well as products from this. Now we are waiting. Coffee, they say first they will go to cattle. So if you are Ugandan and you're planning to grow coffee in our country, make sure that as you grow that coffee, where you're going to plant that coffee, you do not cut trees to plant this coffee, or you do not reclaim swamps to plant this coffee. Otherwise, to not access like a national market. Most of the European Union. Exercise commenced yesterday. We hope people are very friendly. We hope people welcome officials from Uganda.
Well, thank you, Robert. We will get more details regarding the same, but for now, I'd like for us to delve into our news. Well, as Robert prepares to give us local news, Jerome, when you hear that updates coming in from the European Union regarding the coffee sector, and given that it is our biggest export as Uganda, it's a bit a tight one to say that where the coffee, there has to be proof that where the coffee has been grown is not so. There has to be proof that there hasn't been deforestation. I know we are launching into not climate change. We are launching into basically protecting the environment, but isn't this a harsh one?
It does look like a harsh one, and it's one of the developments that I will be even giving the viewer in the business updates today. But this EU deforestation regulation is something that they are looking at from, you know, trying to, put an end to deforestation in most of the countries, because turning to green, to the green economy, center front of so many conversations. That is with COP 27, 28, even with the coming COP this year. But most of the times in Africa, many of our farmers are not doing what you could call, or they're not practicing agriculture in a way that safeguards the environment. And that is why, according to this new EU regulation, what they want to achieve is to ensure that if at all we are to export coffee to, let's say, Europe, you have to make sure that your land, because this is something that is going to take center stage or take shape next year, beginning next year, is that once you are to export coffee from Uganda,
yes,
you have to make sure that there is no track record that shows that the land where you're cultivating your coffee was a forest before that you cut down to set up that plantation of coffee.
And Sanko, one would wonder if this regulation is new or it's been around and farmers have been ignoring it. But we will know more details regarding the same. But for now, let's launch into our local news. And I'll start with the president at the CJ's conference. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has urged the judiciary and legal stakeholders to enact a law regulating the operations of money lenders whom he accused of extorting Ugandans by seizing their assets and property as collateral. Museveni made these remarks while presiding over the opening ceremony of the Southern and Eastern Africa Chiefs at Speak Resort in Munyonyo. President Museveni officiated the opening of the conference, which will run for 5 days under the theme Enhanced Access to Justice, underscoring reform in the African judiciary system. The aim is to extend better judicial services to citizens in Southern and Eastern Africa. Chief Justice Alphonse Owini Dolo said improvements in service delivery within the judiciary, but acknowledged that the system still faces several challenges, which he is optimistic will be addressed. The chairman of the Southern and Eastern Africa Chief Justices Forum and Chief Justice of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Honorable Justice Becky Mapalala, commended the president for the recent renovations of the High Court structures. However, he expressed concern about unemployment and poverty among African member states, despite the continent's abundant natural resources. President Museveni urged the judges and lawyers to serve the public with integrity to ensure justice. Now, moving on, members of the West Nile Parliamentary Caucus are urging the government to expedite the mobilization of funds for the construction of a new modern bridge at Karma. While presenting a statement on the closure of the Karma Bridge by the Ministry of Works and Transport, the chairperson of the West Nile Parliamentary Caucus, Feta Geoffrey, emphasized that Uganda Wildlife Authority should reconsider its time restrictions. He suggested allowing buses, passengers and private vehicles to travel between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. to avoid additional accommodation costs for travelers. Members of the West Nile Parliamentary Caucus have reacted to the closure of the Karma Bridge to all motorists for major rehabilitation work by the Ministry of Works and Transport on September 23rd. Traffic from West Nile and other parts of northern Uganda has been diverted to Kafu, Masindi Town, Chinyara Town and Bwiso, leading to the Albertine Rift Valley in Bulisa district to access the national park through the Bugungu Gate. Members of Parliament state that this diversion has increased transportation costs for people and goods by 35%, which has also affected commodity prices. Some members argue that bus fares have been hiked, while others are requesting the government to increase ferry service time as an alternative route. Now, in other news, the Ugandan government has completed the process for the redevelopment of Chilembe copper mines located in Kasese district. This announcement has been made by Dr. Ruth Nankabira, the Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, during the 13th Mineral Wealth Conference taking place in Kampala. Uganda is holding the 13th Mineral Wealth Conference under the theme Leveraging Critical Minerals for Sustained Economic Transformation, highlighting the potential of Uganda's mineral sector. During her address, Dr. Ruth Nankabira disclosed that the redevelopment of the Chilembe copper mines has now been finalized. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Taiwa, emphasized the importance of value addition in the mineral sector, saying that there is need to ensure that the country's resources benefit the local economy. Experts in the mineral field have stressed the necessity of strong governance as Uganda seeks to industry. And Dr. Abdul Karim Kamara, a mining expert, remarked on this critical aspect. A representative from the Uganda Chamber of Mines and Petroleum also highlighted the sector's immense potential. And lastly, in our local news, the Member of Parliament for Mityana South, Richard Lumu, has tabled the Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill before Parliament. The bill seeks to change the mode of electing the leader of opposition. The Parliamentary Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs will over the weeks scrutinize the relevance of the proposed new legislation amid mixed reactions from a section of the public over the objectives of the bill. Members of Parliament, including Alion York and Oguzuli and Alion York, accused the presiding officers of selective operations. The anticipated Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill 2024 has been tabled for its first reading. Mityana South member was granted leave of Parliament to source for an amendment, specifically Section 8 of the Administration of Parliament Act, which provides for the election of the leader of opposition. The current rules provide that the leader of opposition is elected by the opposition party with the highest numerical strength in Parliament. Lumu wants the shadow cabinet to be approved by the members of opposition parties in Parliament. Interesting news coming in from and I can't wait to see how this will end. But with that, now let's cross into our international news, where Israel officials have promised to respond after Iran fired a barrage of ballistic missiles at key military and security targets in Israel. Iran says the firings were in response to the deadly attacks on Gaza and Lebanon, as well as the recent killings of Hamas, Hezbollah, and Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has warned Israel against retaliation, saying it would face a crushing blow. The IRGC, the Israeli military orders more evacuations in the southern suburbs of Lebanese capital Beirut as Israeli attacks across Lebanon continue. In Gaza, at least 41,638 people have been killed and 96,460 injured. Attacks since October last year. In Israel, at least 1,139 people were killed in the Hamas-led attacks on October 7th, and more than 200 people were taken captive. Now crossing over to the United States, Vice presidential candidates Tim Walz and J.D. Vance are debating each other in New York. Watch that will be at the CBS event. I beg your pardon. The pair keep clashing on the topics of immigration and the economy in a debate that has so far been largely policy focused. Vance attacked Kamala Harris for record migration at the U.S. southern border, while Walz accused Vance of vilifying migrants. Vance was ultimately muted after moderators fact-checked him over claims about the legal status of Haitian immigrants in Ohio. The debate has largely been cordial, butted over the topic of abortion access. In Hurricane Helene's aftermath, the vice presidential candidates also spent time discussing climate change and how they would tackle it. With Iran's missile attack on Israel occurring just hours before the debate, the first question of the debate focused on conflict in the Middle East. Now coming back to East Africa, members of parliament in Kenya have started the process of removing the president from office. Those who back the effort accuse Rigathi Gachagua of having a role in June's anti-government demonstrations, which turned deadly, as well as an involvement in corruption, undermining government and promoting ethnically divisive politics. The Deputy President has dismissed these allegations. This is the culmination of a major fallout between Gachagua and President William Ruto. On Tuesday, the Speaker of the National Assembly allowed the impeachment after a motion to start things off was backed by 291 members of Parliament, way over the threshold of the 117 members of Parliament required. The impeachment itself is expected to sail through both houses of Parliament easily after the main opposition joined forces with the President's party following the recent protests. But there is no date yet for when that will actually take place. Looks like deputy presidents and presidents in Kenya separating is continuing, and I don't know whether this is good for Kenya's politics or it points to something like exploitation or manipulation. You get someone onto your card, you win, and then you go separate ways.
If Rigathi then comes in for the polls in Kenya, it
See?
will again rewrite a new script for the things we've been seeing in Kenya and the fallouts of the president.
Indeed, indeed. But anyway, Jeremy, press.
Well, when it comes to what is in the press here, there is an interesting headline from the New Vision which says, if you do not have a national identity number, then there is no wedding for you, according to a new directive from the government of Uganda. And religious leaders, lawyers are speaking out on this new directive. Quite an interesting development there. It's a report by the New Vision today. Then also Arua 1 FM celebrated for empowering communities, the pictorial of the celebrations. And then Tourism Authority offers 2-day free access to the parks. Then there's a free magazine inside for the Makerere University Innovations. Of course, the Great Ivory Tower does seem to be back and running, and 2 new buses at the Ivory Tower or at the Hill in Makerere. Then that said, the Daily Monitor. The report on top is how investor lost 5 billion shillings in gold scam. And in this, you can see a breakdown of the same. The investor is National, who claims to have lost 1.5 million US dollars, approximately 5.5 billion shillings in 6 months between 2023 and 2024 to underworld cartels who control the transitional market trade in gold, who control the transnational market trade in gold. It's an interesting report that you can read about because the State House Anti-Corruption Unit spokesperson Mariam Natasha revealed that the case was received and allocated, but it's yet to be handled into its depth. That the other news, no national ID, no wedding, says the government, as President Museveni wants law to tame loan sharks. Also, splinter group emerges after Law Society polls. Well, does seem like democracy is not something many people are willing to accept, especially when the elections don't go your way. Now, in the home's perspective, smart home solutions for safety and security. Find that report in the Daily Monitor. Now, to Kenya, beginning of the end. Gachagua's impeachment, says the Daily Nation, the pictorial of the Vice President of Kenya and his boss, the current President William Ruto. And of course, more as Parliament seeks to impeach the President. Then shocker for 46,000 intern teachers as TSC 6 applicants for their jobs. Then there is a report of, have you cleared your Hustler Fund loan? State in plan to raid M-Pesa and airtime. As patients stranded in chaotic SHIF rollout. That is in the Daily Nation. Now, lastly, in Citizen from Tanzania, Chinese Center to boost Tanzanian trade amid competition turns. The East Africa Commercial Logistics Center is poised to connect Tanzanian traders directly with manufacturers, aimed to enhance their competitiveness in the market. There's an artistic impression of that at the front page of the Citizen. As a new report of 29.4 trillion Tanzanian shillings target in sight as the Tanzania Revenue Authority kicks off with impressive Q1 reports. Then politics. act criticizes Zanzibar's economic stagnation, and Tanzania sees 142% surge in investment and also attracts $3.9 billion in Q3 of 2024.
Well, with that, we come to the end of our local and international news plus the press review. But here's the thing, if you want to get details regarding any of the stories that are in the press, all you have to do is buy the paper and dig deep into the issues that have been highlighted. I'll leave you with Mukamayamba by Shiba.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Olyeyo nzendyeno, naye tuli kimu.
Maybe finally this is the way to go. I wonder where you are, my viewer, on this, and I wonder where Jerome Paul is on this. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay because it's a new month.
Yes.
And obviously we're supposed to have that energy. With this, with that report of the administration bill being tabled in Parliament,
yes.
It is very controversial, simply because not so many members of Parliament, especially from the opposition, are buying the idea of the same. But again, he's right when he says that if at all we reach a moment where the numbers of, let's say, DP or NUP are the same,
or almost.
Well, almost the same.
Yes.
But again, I do not want us to look at this from an if clause kind. If this happens, this has to happen. And I think over the years, as it has always been, many of the opposition parties, especially those who are having the highest number, have always been benefiting from the same. My sentiments and my own opinion in regards to this, I don't know how this is going to pan out, but I would suggest it remain the way it was. But when it comes to voting for their own, Honorable Richard Lumu, also has his point. And it also needs to be heard. Because if he feels we need to first of all vote, or because there are members of Parliament from the opposition who at times may not be happy with the lead of opposition. And let's face it, this year we've seen the chaos within the leader of opposition, his office.
Exactly.
From change of the new law since the time of, this entire bit of the opposition in Parliament today has been an issue to really look into. But besides that, Olive, it being Woman Crush Wednesday, there has been something that also caught my attention. I've been following something coming in from social media, and this particular one has been advice of fellow women giving fellow women advice. And the advice that they've been giving has been dubbed girl to girl. And what they've been giving as a piece of advice is to always remind these fellow women that, you know what? If I told you to succeed in life, these are things you're not supposed to be doing. If I told you to succeed in life, these are things you're supposed to be doing. And I've been following the same conversation online, and it is something that has inspired my morning today, because as I was refreshing through the different timelines, especially on the X app this morning, seeing many women reminding and also motivating fellow women, it is something that we need to be pushing for, and it's something that our society in Uganda should as well be pushing for moving forward.
Wow, interesting perspective, Jerome. But now there is
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by.
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, May Dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily, or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you for sticking around. It is 7 minutes past 7 o'clock on this second day of October 2024. The year is now moving at a fast pace, and I believe that for many of us, we are already looking around and checking our vision boards to see how far we've gone with what we set out to do in this year. I wonder if the Uganda Police Force has also checked to see how far they've gone as far as fighting corruption in the force is concerned. Why am I saying this? There is a report which indicates that 4 policemen were arrested over receiving a 5 million bribe to free a defilement suspect. Imagine that. The Uganda Police Force, if we just is supposed to maintain law and order. And one of the crimes in this country is corruption. Everyone knows that many reports that come out normally cite Uganda Police Force as a highly corrupt force, especially the traffic arm of the Uganda Police. Now here today we are actually not here to basically, for lack of a better word, we are not here to dance on their graves, but we are here to call a spade a spade. If the police officers that are supposed to uphold the law are the ones breaking it, where does it leave Ugandans? And how do we get justice if we cannot if we run to certain people to maintain law and order, and then they break the law by taking bribes? It leaves really a dark situation, and probably hope is lost, but not entirely. So I will be having this conversation with Jerome Paul Sonko. How do we fight crime and also uphold the law in this country, especially within the police force? I'm Olive Monica Najuma. Jerome, hi again.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Well, this report, 4 officers attached to Lore police station in Bukoli Islands, Namaingo district, they are being investigated for bribery after they allegedly took a bribe that was facing charges of defilement.
And you know, with this report, it opens up a conversation of lack of accountability and transparency within our law enforcement units in the country. Because when you look at this situation, in Tanzania just recently, I think it was a report we had yesterday in our internationals, in relation to 4 men who were sent
who were sentenced to life imprisonment.
to life imprisonment simply because of issues to do with rape and defilement charges, if I am to remember so well. And also in Kenya, in Mombasa, there's also another similar case relating to the same, which has also seen some of the leaders within that side being targeted in the investigation because of defilement, and of course, the other was gang raping a woman in Tanzania.
It was an underage girl.
But a gang rape,
yes,
or let's say gang defilement, if that word even exists. But why am I saying it is opening conversation for the issue of transparency and accountability is that where does the accountability bit come in? Remember, just like you've mentioned in your introduction, that our law enforcers, especially the police, are supposed to be ensuring that society, if at all you are an individual and you engage in a crime, you're supposed to be accountable for it. Meaning you're going to face the law, and the precautions there are you're either imprisoned, you're either charged, or you're punished. So the entire thing is to ensure that they push for justice and also control law and order. Now, in this situation, before I even get into this very report, we have seen so many times where victims have not got justice simply because many of those who have access to, let's say, the law enforcers, and they have money, because with this very report, Olive, you get to realize that four policemen were arrested for just receiving meaning there are so many victims that have found themselves in such situations that when you are going to report your case to police, and maybe the person you're going to report has more money than you do, you find yourself losing out, because maybe they will have a higher chance of gaining for their own justice before you or before those in the law, and in question the Uganda police, who are supposed to enforce the law, by the way. And at the same time, you get to see that this issue of bribery opens up a conversation of why is this so easy for Ugandans to easily buy their justice.
And that question you're asking, Jerome, is pertinent. Now, because when you look at this incident, a pastor, 42 years of age, had been arrested and incarcerated for allegedly defiling and impregnating a 13-year-old girl. Now, after he allegedly paid 5 million to police officers, they aided his escape from prison. But referring to the question Jerome has asked, why is it easy for Ugandans to buy their justice? I would like to now have Robert Chirabo join us from Studio B. And Robert, here, there is that pertinent question that Jerome asked. Why is it easy for Ugandans to buy justice? And the following question to that, Robert, is in your own perspective, has the government failed police officers somewhere, so much so that they have to be hugely involved in cases of corruption?
Well, thank you so much, Olive and Joram, and much more to our viewer. Now, first we must understand that police is one of the few government institutions that have public interaction very regularly.
Yes.
I remember, and one of the things we must recall is every government institution where there's been person-to-person corruption is there. Do we agree? Ministry of Internal Affairs, before coming, why they resorted to have people do work online to get their passports? Because there's immense corruption there, not so?
Yes.
Now, what they did is they fought person-to-person interaction. URA had challenges of corruption. What they did, they fought person-to-person interaction. Now, when Ugandans know the gravity of the offense, they are willing to cough anything to serve or to set themselves off the chain. Now, police is this one institution where they are regularly, day-to-day in contact with the public. And that alone, I said by giving you examples of other institutions where person-to-person had bred a lot of corruption. Now, usually when you come before a person, and remember there is a victim, there is a suspect, but a suspect who wants to go off the hook. Despite the fact that they could, because they are still suspects, they have not been convicted by a competent court. Despite the fact that they are suspects, but they know the wrath of the law. Now, here is also a police officer who knows that they can get this bribe and go scot-free. Because if the investigator is the one receiving, it becomes a problem. And we must accept that even in police there is syndicate corruption, that a single police officer may not extort money and establish the mission very well. You'll find out that if it is 5 million, maybe the officer in charge of CID got something like 2 million. Then those that went to arrest the one holding the file. So it is syndicated now. When you come to investigate, the person, everyone almost important to go to, has benefited from this corruption. So it becomes very hard now. Why it is very easy for our police is that person to person, direct contact, but also the issue that has now become syndicated, and to make matters worse, that people have done it before, continue to do it, and the truth is, because it is hard to convict them, they go scot-free. Now, Olive, if they tell you so-and-so has been arrested, I witnessed this one day. A colleague of mine knocked somebody, and they took him to police. Now, when I was calling colleagues to tell them that so-and-so is at this particular police station, he has knocked a person, so let's go check on him, and maybe get him a lawyer. Do you know what people are telling me? Kirabo ba amagezi nawe. You're telling us lawyer, going checking on him. Let's get money. If they arrest anybody, they will tell you, echikuru sente. So even us, we've become complacent. We've come to accept that, you know what? It is money, as if you're going to purchase something. So when abnormality becomes normal in a society,
Yes.
the normal becomes abnormal.
Interesting.
Robert, there's an argument that if at all Ugandans stopped bribing the police officers or the traffic officers or those within these offices, because now here we have opened up room for conversation of many government departments and agencies that are always finding themselves in situations where they ask for a bribe in order to render a service to a Ugandan, which service is supposed to be a free one, by the way. Now, when you look at the argument of if Ugandans stopped bribing, there are people who are, so principled when it comes to giving out money just to buy, let's say, just to get a service. But then there is also a mentality that has been growing over the years by the so many people who are in positions of public service, that even when you expect puts a situation, or he or she puts a situation where you will automatically know there is nothing free for you.
For instance, you go to to make a report at a police post, and they will at least say, pay for the stamp. Oh, now they stop the stamp, they will tell you, we need to buy paper or to print, something like that.
But again, when they bring into that kind of aspect, it now points a picture. I'm not saying it's right.
Okay.
It now paints a picture of why are they asking us money for stamps? What does the budget that is allocated to them, to let's say the police force do?
Do you think it's a problem of the
they,
budget or how much they earn? Because this money is not going back to the government coffers. Let's face it.
You know why I'm saying it goes to the question of the budget, because again, most of the police officers will tell you why we earn less, or why they do some of the things. They will say there's that bit of we are earning less salary. Now when it comes to you asking the question on the accounting officer, why are the police will tell you we are living within the budget we are having.
And then other government officials.
But also maybe if I may come in there
just
a bit.
a moment, Robert. The other government officials that are also embroiled in corruption cases, what is their excuse?
Integrity issues, I think.
Yes, Robert,
and
you
it's
had
not even
something
an excuse.
Well,
I think for them, they don't know that they lack integrity.
Two things here.
That is what Robert said about abnormality becoming something normal.
Two things here. We cannot look at low pay as a justification for corruption, because billions of this country
And they're earning
and
well.
they're earning so very much.
Yes.
So I don't think that to a greater extent, a person with integrity who is principled, that may not work out. There is no way you're going to release a person who has defiled and impregnated a 13-year-old because of low pay, emotionally, religiously, at all angles. that cannot be perverted.
So it
getting
takes
you
us
there.
back to
So,
integrity.
Integrity and the fact that we've become complacent. Let me tell you, in this country, Ugandans, there is a level we've reached and we've accepted that that's how things are done. Look, candidates, senior FA are going to begin their exams, not so?
Yes.
On the 14th. Then P7 and all will do. Wait for results when they are back. Listen to parents who will tell you, don't you know anybody in Gayaza, in Chitende, in Buddo, whom we can pass through?
So Robert, let me ask you.
So we've come to...
Let me ask you, Robert, and even Joram, at what point does having a connection and being corrupt, where do we lose the line? Is it a thin line between the connections and corruption?
You know, with the example he has given,
yes,
regardless of it being a connection, you do realize it involves something to do with money. There's an exchange, and now that ceases to be just connection.
What if they call it a stipend?
It can be. It can be.
Yeah.
But look into a situation, Olive, where, because when students are going into, let's say, senior 5 and senior 1, schools always have cutoff points. Now, when they do have cutoff points, best believe most of the schools or the traditional schools will tell you, if you exceed the points that they have for your child, or you're not supposed to be inside. But then, bringing in Robert's issue is that you will find a student, for example, where a school with a cutoff points of about 6 aggregates for the boys, having a child who has 10 aggregates on the inside. Now the questions are,
donations.
How did he get into there?
Donations. Now, Robert, yes, continue.
So we as Ugandans, we've come to accept a person leaves home and says, I need money for traffic office. I need some change.
Yes.
You can't drive to Masaka when you've not put aside some money to give traffic officers.
So Robert, now that brings a question again. Ugandans, are we enabling the corruption tendency? And then we later on turn around and blame the people in positions of power and authority and influence.
The fact is, we're not being honest to ourselves. We're only condemning corruption when we are not benefiting out of it. Because it takes two to tango in corruption. He who gives and he who receives, both are committing an offense. Now, I can give endless examples where people will come out and shout at government for being corrupt, yet actually, in case they benefited, they wouldn't make any noise.
No, I'll give you a good example. One of the members of parliament that is currently facing corruption charges is also known to have been very vocal regarding corruption. So you can see that. But I would like to bring something to your attention, gentlemen. This is a police report. This is a report that came out where police officers were decrying corruption in deployment and promotions. And according to this Uganda Human Rights, the Uganda Human Rights Commission report, it says that 70% of police officers in Uganda reported unfairness in deployments, transfers, and promotions. And according to this report, they said that police officers who are not happy with how they are being pointed a finger at corrupt tendencies, favoritism, tribalism, nepotism, technical know-who, and bribery, or what you may call kickbacks. So if we have a problem from the onset of deployment, transfers, and even, so how do you even trust the process of recruitment?
You see, even before we even head into that of recruitment, I'm even looking at if we Ugandans know the impact we are creating for our own selves. Olive.
And this is across the board, Jerome. Like Chirabo said, we have become complacent and comfortable with corruption. To
the point that one day it's going to start affecting all of us, and then we blame or we start pointing fingers, yet it's something that we've created for our own selves. Because, Olive, in this same report that you started with, you get to realize that 5 million shillings that was paid led to the escape of the criminal who was involved of defiling
yes.
a girl child.
Yes.
Now, meaning if one is, because let's look at it from this way. This is a girl child who has got a brighter future, and we all know what kind of trauma
And she's a
that
minor.
defilement record can have on her for the longevity of her own life. Now, someone buys off their justice with 5 million Ugandan shillings, meaning this girl has not got justice. She's going to continue living with the wounds of pain, not only on the body, but also within, and of course that
mentally,
that
physically,
mental,
and she was also impregnated.
So-
We don't even know about her health.
her health now.
Yes.
Meaning, we have created that situation. And like you've said, when it comes to recruitment, many times we are applying for jobs, you're writing emails, you are going for interviews.
But the job has already
But the
been
jobs, the jobs are already taken. Or they have already been, or maybe these jobs when they already know who is coming up.
Well, Jerome,
And
I would like to...
At the end of the day, we are being affected.
Yes, and you can send in your comments regarding this crime and corruption. How do we tackle corruption within law enforcement agencies like the Uganda Police Force? And a case in point is a pastor that was aided to escape from police cells after he paid a bribe of 5 million shillings. These and more these have been highlighted in different agencies of the government, and Robert gave us examples. And before I go to Robert to suggest some of the ways we can ensure that we curb corruption and crime in our country. And for me here, I don't want to only put the government on the spot when it comes to fighting corruption. I would like for us to look at the broad spectrum of the problem, where it starts, and see how we can come up with solutions. But Robert, before you answer that, I have a comment in Gayaza, and he says, corruption is everywhere, but in police it's too much. You cannot drive without money, even if you have documents. No way, you must you must leave something. By the way, sometimes they can even just say, okay, buy me water. Like everything is okay, and they say, okay, buy me water.
That
well,
is okay.
But do you know that I have money to buy you water?
If you don't have, then don't buy. I rather appreciate a police officer.
Yes.
Because that ever happened to me. I was driving around, and this person stops me and says, I don't know, I even used that word. He said, Honorable, ngulirayo ku mazzi. And then...
Okay, that's not so bad.
Yeah, he said, thank you. And I drove off. That is because you can still meet anybody and asks. But where someone knows I'm in an offense and uses money, because the law gives them the right to caution, you know, to give you an express penalty if it is, the offense is given that, or to hold you, you know, so there's so much at their discretion. So for me, that's where I find a problem. But like you asked me, one, will to fight corruption. And I want to say this categorically clear. Brothers and sisters, fellow Ugandans, let's have the will to fight corruption. Many of us talk about corruption, but we are not ready to fight corruption. I'll quote the late Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Olanya, on the day we had the anti-corruption walk from Constitution Square to Kororo. He said, His Excellency, all of us, we are here and we are corrupt. What we are doing today is best for camera, but we shall go back and do the same things unless we develop the will to end corruption. So we need the will to end corruption. We must be ready to sacrifice our very own to set precedent. The Ugandans are desperate and crying out. There is a word called the public court. Ugandans know they're corrupt. The only thing is evidence lacks. Are we ready to sacrifice our own to change the narrative that Uganda, we said no to corruption? The other thing is, we must strengthen the investigating machinery of this country. We must facilitate them so that they are able to break these chains of syndicate corruption. We must prioritize, we must expedite corruption cases. I know of a person who was involved in a corruption case. He went out, then he did a master's, now did a PhD. He's working.
Wow.
When you talk about scandals like the Mabati scandal, those that were convicted, those that were going through court, there is a way corruption cases tend to lag in this country and you forget about it. Then someone dies. Can we prioritize them like we do for political cases? Because we are losing so much on corruption. The way we expedite and prioritize political cases, someone reached an election and a member of parliament has died these days and we have another one. Can we do that to corruption? Then lastly, we must be very, very intentional on lifestyle audit. Honorable Betty Kamya, our IGG, came up with that term, lifestyle audit. To be honest, it's in Uganda where a person earns 8 but drives a car of 50 million.
Oh, thank you, Robert. And Paul from Kasese says, to stop corruption, government has to take over all schools and hospitals, then standardize fees which can be affordable for all citizens. Corruption is the biggest issue in Uganda. School fees is too high. Charges for medical services are also extremely high. And this one says Ugandans' mindset is still poor, more especially in law enforcement. It's like they're trained to be corrupt. And lastly, Bill says to fight corruption, it begins with you. If you refuse to pay the bribe, that is a beginning. Jesus died on the cross because he refused to bow to the devil. Do not pay the bribe. Well, that brings us to the end of our conversation, but we can continue with the same conversation on our X handle, which is you can use the hashtag UBCGMU. Now continues, but we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, whole era of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Uganda being the Pearl of Africa, it is blessed with the big game. What are the big game? These are the 5 most or strongest animals in the world. When we talk about the big game, we are definitely talking about the lions, the buffaloes, elephants, rhinos, and the leopard. Today we are blessed that we are exploring the kings of the jungle and those other lions. We are at Uwek, the only, okay, not the only, but the major exosuit that we have in the country. It is a home to 13 lions. Some of them have been bred from here, and others were just rescued from different areas, maybe like Sophie, who was rescued from Action Falls and brought here. She was hand raised. But something that is most amazing about these lions at Uwek is the hand raising of these lions. Did you know that you can hand raise lions? Like you feed them with formula that is maybe they've made research and known what is contained in the breast milk of a lion, and they mix formula that can be fed on by these lions. So you hand raise lions, and maybe at about 3 months or 4 months, then that is the time they start introducing them to maybe minced meat and introducing them to soft meat. But it is exciting to know that you can actually rescue a lion from the wild and then hand raise it, and you feed it to see that it doesn't die out. However, we cannot say that there are not cases where lions have been hand raised and they still fail to make it. But this is one way that shows that there is a lot as humans that we can do to conserve the environment, but also to preserve the wildlife for the future generation. So here at Uwek, you see how lions are so much taken care of, the concern that they have, the medication they get, the concern, the environment, how they clean their places where they stay. It is just exciting to know that there is an exosuit in Uganda where they take care of this wildlife, these wild lions, and they live to their full capacity as they would live in the wild. So if you haven't taken time to explore or to visit Uwek, this is one place that you're sure, you do not doubt that when you come here at Uwek, you're definitely going to see these lions. Hi, Amy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay, how are you?
Fine,
It's nice to know that we are going to have some good interactions and discussions about the species at Uwek.
Yes, my name is Aine Magara Anwell, and I'm a zookeeper here at Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center. I've been here for 3 years, keeping lions, rhinos, different wildlife. Lions are among the top game people travel across counties to look at. They're magnificent animals. They are associated with power. They are kings of jungles. They are roars. Their size. They are very, very magnificent animals to look at. And most tourists on every safari, in every conservation area, they look forward to looking at the lions, and also them being the biggest cats that we have in Africa. They are also associated with teamwork because they usually hunt in very, very huge groups. But also, lions are also, the fact that males do less of the hunting and females do most of the hunting, it excites people that the females do most of the work, but the males eat first. Yeah, just like most African homes, I guess, or most homes.
That is unfair.
I guess so. Yeah. So the breeding of lions outside their natural environment, something not very challenging, because for animals just like people, in order to breed, you should have food, and the right sexual ratios. So if you have a male and a female and they are feeding well and they are well cared for, they will breed. And usually lions, the females reach sexual maturity at around 4 years. Males go up to 5 to 6. However, those in captivity reach sexual maturity at a very early age. We've seen male lions like Africa reaching sexual maturity at even 3 years. being able to father children or being able to father cubs. So and the reason being that when they are here in a captive environment, they eat on a daily basis. So they mature very fast compared to their counterparts in the wild. So they can easily breed in captivity than in the wild. But also in the captive environment, all conditions are controlled. It gets sick, immediately intervene. And most people ask me how do they medicate lions, their lions. So mostly we medicate through food. Depending on the condition or depending on the assessment of the doctors, you can either through food or you can put them to sleep and you work on them. Yeah. So it is, but also the rate at which lions die in the natural environment is alarming. Almost 1 out of 3 die. They don't reach maturity. But here you can have 5 cubs and all the cubs grow because they will eat, the mother will breastfeed. But even if the mother doesn't want to breastfeed, we do what we call hand raising. Some of the lions here have been hand raised on formulas. There is a formula for cats called S-Brac. So some of the ones that are rescued, or sometimes the female lions in captivity have what we call poor mother abilities. They fail to raise a young one. So we come in as humans and we hand raise them. A lion like Ali Upareria, he was hand raised, and there she is. There he is, probably 3 years. Yeah.
So at work, you can actually engage in so many activities that can actually get you closer to these wild animals. And one of them that has been common is the behind the scenes experience. But today I got to learn that there is also another activity that is dubbed Keeper for a Day. So this day you come and be for 1 day from morning to evening. You engage with the zookeepers, the educators, you engage with vets here. So you see how they take on their daily lives, how do they clean, how do they feed these animals. So you can also have that experience. You be a zookeeper for a day. Well, giving you a travel tip for today, it is quite simple. The fact that we are in the zoo, we are still telling you that when you visit such places, please make sure that you listen. Listen to your instructors, listen to your educators. Some of the times that you visit these places, they can tell you, don't go here. This place is restricted, but you also insist to go there. But if something happens to you, so just make sure that you listen to your instructors or your guide as you explore the beautiful wildlife species that reside in Uwek. Thank you so much. We still have a lot that is coming in from Uwek. We shall take you around the whole zoo, just at the comfort of your desk. Thank you so much.
Into the business this morning, welcome on board. The Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Frank Tumwebaze, advised farmers to comply with the EU market regulations, which will enable them to export agriculture products like coffee, cocoa and soya. Now, he does say very sustainable and achievable solution, which will in turn be profitable for the many. He was launching the National Registration Initiative for Coffee Value Chain Actors in Kampala, and Uganda, which is the 7th largest coffee producer globally and also 2nd on the African continent, with access to markets in China and the European Union, is continuing to achieve and record more strides within the coffee sector. Because with more developments coming in from the Uganda Coffee Development Authority in the past 2 months, you get to realize that the numbers have been increasing tremendously in regards to the export levels and the export volumes, plus the millions in dollars that we are gaining from the SEM. Now, in order for Uganda to continue increasing this you get to realize that Uganda has also registered a 22% increase in commodity exports, up from just 11% that had been recorded in the previous years. Now, the Minister for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries revealed that farmers need to register their products, which will enable them on the export market. Now, the government has contributed 13.9 billion shillings along with partners to support agricultural farming. And of course, in a related development, the Chinese government has also formalized a deal allowing Ugandans to export products to China's larger market, and meaning there is an opportunity for many of the farmers as well as those who are in the value addition chain to tap into the Chinese market as well. Now, when it comes to the protocols in regards to compliance, which is also essential, particularly in regards to data entry for aquatic products in order to adhere to regulations and avoid penalties, the farmers have also been encouraged to continue following the right procedures, and also in the same regard to also work on the efforts to ensure that the EUDR, or the European Union Deforestation Regulation, does not slap them in case it starts rolling out or when it is rolled out, because you will have to submit a license that shows that the land, like coffee, is not having a record of being a forest before, or being cut down, or a forest that had been cut down for you to cultivate your coffee and then export to Europe. And of course, this is also aiming at ensuring the quality of the coffee that is being exported, but also to open up room for environmental conservation and addressing matters climate change. And away from that, we now turn our focus on Uganda has announced a new partnership with Starbucks International in an effort to boost cashless transactions and enhance digital financial inclusion. In the same regard, the collaboration aims to make it easier for Ugandans to pay for goods and services using using Airtel Money, especially at Starbucks fuel stations across the country, while accessing the Star Cafe, also accessing the Star Pharmacy, and also making more payments with the Star Shop that is on the Starbucks fuel. Now, Airtel Money and the Starbucks International coming up with this partnership is to create convenience for cashless payment solutions, and to also ensure that customers have no challenge making the payments, especially for those that do not move with hard cash lately. Now, this move will also transform the way Ugandans transact by offering a seamless, secure and cashless experience, and also provide room for security, especially for those who find themselves holding huge sums of money while going out to buy some few groceries from different select shops of fuel stations, as well as those who go out to buy fuel but having hard cash late in the night. And besides that, both companies have also highlighted the benefits of this partnership, emphasizing that with Airtel Money, the subscribers will be able to make direct mobile payments at Starbucks stations, enabling ease and safety. And this is also a partnership that is aligning with government's commitment to promote cashless payments and also reduce reliance on hard cash. It is clear that the initiatives like this will play a major role in shaping Uganda's digital transactions in the upcoming years, as many of the telecommunications companies world over are coming up with different solutions to push for the cashless economy, and also to make it easier and also safer for their clients and subscribers to be able to access services, pay, clear and transact everything using their smartphones. Well, as we are ending up with business this morning, we turn our focus on the forex market now to see how the Ugandan shilling was faring on the exchange against other foreign currencies. Opening time yesterday, the US dollar was buying at 3,682.86 shillings while selling at 3,692.86 shillings. By midday, the US dollar was buying at 3,664.59 shillings while selling at 3,683.68 shillings. The US dollar was buying at 32 shillings while selling at 3,673.82 shillings. The Great Britain pound was buying at 4,897.79 while selling at 4,911.16. The euro was buying at 4,079.29 while selling at 4,090.43. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.40 while selling at 28.47. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.34 while selling at 1.34, while the South African rand was buying at 212.11 while selling at 212 Ugandan shillings. Well, these rates are updated 3 times daily, and those are figures from the central bank. Olive Monica Najuma is here with the traffic updates. Good morning.
Now let's delve into the traffic updates. I'm Olive Monica Najuma, and today we are in the area of Mengo. Now looking at the intersections, that is Zake Road and Chisingiri Road, as they connect to Albert Cook Road here in Mengo, and also Kasalina Road, we have a smooth flow of traffic over there. And continuing with Albert Cook Road at the juncture where Sentema Road joins it, I see a bit of traffic jam coming through from Sentema Road. Actually, if you're coming from Sentema Road yourself, you need to know that right before you join the main road, you're going to be delayed by a bit of traffic, but it is not intense. Now, continuing with this Albert Cook Road, here I see that in different sections, we have some bit of traffic jam and then smooth flow of traffic. And going with the same route, I see that Hamukasa Road is bringing in a bit of traffic. Actually, let's look at Hamukasa Road and see how the situation is over there. And from what I see, the biggest section of Hamukasa Road has intense traffic jam, as evidenced by that red zone you see over there. It lightens up a bit, but it is still there up until you connect to Albert Cook Road. Now going ahead with Albert Cook Road, for some section stretch of the road, we have a smooth flow of traffic, but then when we get to Texel Energies in Mengo, then here we have intense traffic jam for a great section. And as we continue with it, I see that you will be driving bumper to bumper for some good time, but then ahead there is a smooth flow of traffic along Albert Cook Road. And when you look at Wakaliga Road, it looks pretty clear. So people that are coming in from the areas of Mengo, Rubaga, yes, this is how the traffic situation is looking like. I see that those that are applying the Makamba Road route, you will encounter traffic jam up until you connect to Mugwanya Road. And for the part, we have a smooth flow of traffic over there. Well, that does it for our traffic updates today, and we were looking at the area of Mengo, different routes that you could take to go to different areas within Mengo. And for the most part, I see that there is smooth flow of traffic, but then some sections have intense traffic, so you can plan your routes accordingly. We'll be right back tomorrow with the same, and for now we are going to take a short break, and Robert Chirabo will be coming up next with the agenda.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, me don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Are you tired of skipping breakfast because you're short on time in the morning? Well, we've got you covered with these quick and healthy breakfast ideas that you can make in a flash. Number 1. Greek Yogurt Parfait. Create a delightful Greek yogurt parfait by layering a cup of Greek yogurt with fresh berries, granola, and a drizzle of honey. The creamy yogurt provides protein, while the berries add natural sweetness and antioxidants. Granola contributes a satisfying crunch and whole grains. Optionally, add nuts or seeds for extra texture and nutrients. Whether enjoyed in a bowl or a glass, this parfait offers a balance of flavors and nutritional benefits. Number 2. Avocado Toast. Start by mashing a ripe avocado and spreading it over a slice of whole grain toast. Sprinkle a pinch of salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes for flavor. For added protein, top it with a poached or fried egg. This combination provides a good balance of healthy fats, fiber, and protein, making it a satisfying and energy-boosting option. Customize it further with toppings like cherry tomatoes, feta cheese, or a drizzle of olive oil. Number 3. Smoothie Bowl. If you're in a rush, a smoothie is a great choice. Blend your favorite fruits with Greek yogurt or milk and pour into a bowl. Top with granola, chia seeds, and sliced fruits. This customizable bowl is not only visually appealing, but also rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Number 4. Oatmeal with fruit. Cook oats with water or milk, and berries or a handful of blueberries. Add a sprinkle of nuts or seeds for extra crunch and nutritional value. Consider drizzling a touch of honey or maple syrup for natural sweetness. Number 5. Egg muffins. Whip up a quick and convenient breakfast with egg muffins. Simply whisk eggs and pour them into muffin tins. Add diced vegetables, cheese, and herbs of your choice. Bake until the eggs are set, creating easy-to-grab and portable egg muffins. This versatile recipe allows you to customize flavors by adding ingredients like spinach, tomatoes, or cooked bacon. Number 6. Chia pudding. Indulge in a nutritious and simple chia pudding. Combine chia seeds with almond milk or Greek yogurt and let the mixture sit in the refrigerator overnight. This allows the chia seeds to absorb the liquid and create a pudding-like consistency. In the morning, top it with fresh fruits, nuts, or coconut flakes for added flavor and texture. Number 7. Whole grain toast with nut butter. Simply spread almond butter, peanut butter, or your favorite nut butter on a slice of whole grain toast. The combination of healthy fats provides a balanced source of energy. For an extra touch, add banana slices or a sprinkle of chia seeds. Number 8. Cottage cheese bowl. For a quick and nutritious cottage cheese bowl, start with a cup of cottage cheese and add fresh pineapple chunks for sweetness. Sprinkle 2 tablespoons of sliced almonds for a satisfying crunch and healthy fats. If you desire sweetness, drizzle a bit of honey or maple syrup. Gently mix the ingredients in the bowl and, for a refreshing touch, garnish with fresh mint leaves. Number 9. Breakfast burrito. For a quick and hearty breakfast burrito, sauté diced onions and bell peppers until tender, then add black beans and scramble eggs in the same pan until fully cooked. Warm a whole grain tortilla and spoon the egg mixture onto the center, topping it with shredded cheese. Fold in the sides and roll it up into a burrito shape. Optionally, toast the assembled burrito for a crispy texture. Top with salsa or hot sauce and fresh cilantro for added flavor. Number 10. Fruit salad. prepare a refreshing fruit salad by combining a variety of fresh fruits such as melons, berries, grapes, and citrus fruits. Gently toss them together in a bowl and optionally add a squeeze of lime or lemon juice for a citrusy twist. This colorful and nutrient-packed salad offers a natural blend of vitamins, antioxidants, and hydration. Customize it by incorporating mint leaves or a drizzle of honey for extra flavor. Number 11. Whole grain cereal with milk. Choose a high-fiber, low-sugar whole grain cereal and pair with your preferred type of milk, such as dairy, almond, or soy milk. Top it with a handful of sliced strawberries or a banana for added natural sweetness and vitamins. Whole grain cereal with milk is a simple yet balanced option that provides complex carbohydrates, fiber, and essential nutrients to kickstart your day. Peanut butter banana wrap. Spread peanut butter on a whole grain wrap, add sliced bananas, and roll it up. This simple yet delicious combination provides a balance of protein, healthy fats, and natural sweetness. The peanut butter banana wrap is not only easy to assemble, but also a convenient and portable choice for a busy morning. With these fast and healthy breakfast ideas, there's no excuse to skip the most important meal of the day. Thanks for watching. This program is produced by Sani Productions, powered by UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. They shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda agenda. Now, in this segment, as part of the entire Good Morning Uganda, we usually have a guest or guests and discuss a matter of national concern. Now, we all know that one of the avenues government is using to fight corruption, true, but also to fight poverty, is a cooperative model. Most of government initiatives aimed at alleviating people from poverty require using the cooperative model known as SACCOs, the Credit Savings Cooperatives. And with me on set, I have 3 gentlemen who are well conversant with anything to do with cooperatives and SACCOs in this country. And we want to be focusing on in rural transformation. I know many people wonder, what is a cooperative bank in rural transformation? Well, by the end of this show, you'll have gotten enough information and also know if you're a member of such, or if you're not, why should you quickly be a member of one if it is in your area? I have Mr. Cooperatives, as usual, my usual suspect. That is none other than Ivan, who is the General Secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Good morning, Ivan.
Pleasure being here. Good morning, all our viewers. Thank you.
And just next to him, I have Father Safari Emmanuel, who is the chairman board of Kigezi Sacco, but he also is he is also the Sacco chair, that is of Kibson Sacco. Well, usually these are words that letters joined from a certain word. He'll give us the full, it's just an abbreviation, Kibson. When you talk about Kibson, what is that? But you're most welcome, Father, and thank you for being part of the show.
So my name is Reverend Father Emmanuel Safari, as we have said, Treasurer Uganda Cooperative Alliance, Chairman Kigezi Saccos Union, and also Chairman Kebison Theater 24 years ago. Thank you.
Okay, later we'll get to know what is Kebson Sacco later on. And just next to me, I have Navend Stephen, Chairman Board, that is Uganda, Chairman Board, Mwarimu Cooperative Sacco. One of the Saccos, actually Mwarimu Cooperative Union. But this is one of, I don't want to say the strongest, I don't want to Wazalendo and others, but one of the good union, I must say. You're welcome to the show.
Yes, good morning, viewers. Once more, my name is Navende Stephen, National Chairman, Board, Walimu Cooperative Union. This is an organization which oversees all teachers' circles in the whole country. And our headquarters is based here in Chuatuli, near Wazalendo Circle.
How many teacher circles registered are we looking at here?
Mr. Moderator, under Walimu Cooperative Union, we have 285 circles.
285?
Yes, please.
Registered?
Registered.
Teacher circles?
Teacher circles.
Wow.
Countrywide.
Oh, that is a big number.
These are circles that are based either at sub-county level, school level, district level, or at county level. Yes, please.
Now, Ivan, when we talk about cooperative banking in rural transformation, please swiftly break this down for us.
Oh, thank you so much. Good morning once again, all our viewers, all our listeners, all Ugandans, and even those who are watching us from outside. First of all, I want to really to give a big round of applause to UBC on behalf of the cooperators, the opportunity that you have always given us to learn, to understand the cooperative model. And also, I want to thank you for covering our event. Last week, we had the National Cooperative Consultative Meeting, and you really covered it live. I have been getting calls from all corners of life that actually you delivered the best service. So we have to appreciate you. Second, I want to appreciate the government of Uganda. One, for adopting the cooperative model. It's a very big achievement as a country that the government adopted this model. Secondly, for supporting cooperatives. We all see what is happening in the country. Talk about PDM, talk about Emyoga. Though there may be challenges, but challenges cannot outweigh the benefits. Who is benefiting? A Ugandan is benefiting. So it's our role, me and you, to sit down and rectify whichever challenges are there so that we streamline all these programs. Talk about the agro-processing facilities. All of these are for farmers. Talk about the agricultural credit facility. This is money going to farmers. So all of this is government working. However, what is missing is the cooperative bank. Now, when you talk about the cooperative bank and rural transfer, here we are looking at my mother, your mother, myself, who is seated. That's why I'm very happy to have the two gentlemen. These are my bosses. Father Safari is the treasurer, and he comes deep in Chisoro. So practically he knows what is happening with the people down there. And being a religious leader, he interfaces very many people. So I wouldn't want to go into his discussion. You talk about my friend, chairman board of Walimu. Same story. These are teachers who need financial support, but there is a gap, and that is why they are there. We really need a bank that provides affordable and appropriate finance to the smallholder person who is seated there. In this time, he's in the garden. But let's say coffee, now coffee has started flowering. He needs the money to send the child to school. What does he do? Because commercial banks cannot help him, he has to run it to the middlemen. He has to run it to these money lenders. You have heard the president talk about them. And the money, and you surrender your coffee, which is going to mature next year around March, April there.
Yes.
So already you are losing. But these cooperative bank, cooperative structures, like he has said, in Kigezi, there are 6 districts. All of those people will access money through the circles and also through the other forms and types of cooperatives, which actually is lacking today. Now, if you can compare on a global context, our viewers, we are not talking about something that doesn't exist. We all know that we had a bank here, the Cooperative Bank, that had been formed in 1964, but due to certain challenges, it closed. However, Cabinet approved the decision, and we are moving as you see, and where we are now heading to carrying out a comprehensive study. The other groundwork has been done already. However, globally, if you went to Germany, this morning I was reading, the cooperative banks of Germany, their net worth is 1.2 billion euros. That's a lot of money.
Yes, indeed, it's a lot.
Talk about Rabobank Foundation, 614 billion euros. Talk about the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, 607 billion Kenyan shillings, an equivalent of 12.7
no doubt
trillion.
we can accept that these banks really have very good
go to
and
Ethiopia,
high costs.
go
Yes.
to France, go everywhere.
Now this is
all
where
these countries have cooperative
Ivan, now,
banks.
this is where I want to bring in the people that touch base on ground.
Yes.
And I want to begin with Father Safari. Now, when we talk about cooperative bank in rural transformation, we've had an example of Kebson. I hope I have pronounced it right.
Yes. Pronunciation.
Yes. Now, how has this helped transform? Why should we even be having this as a topic this morning?
So, before I start talking, I'm a Catholic priest. We must pray. We started, we must pray for a short. So, Almighty ever living God, we thank you for the gift of life you have given us. We thank you for the gift of this morning. Lord, we ask you to bless our program, bless us, and protect us. Bless our country, bless cooperatives, bless us and what we are going to do, and bless the rural people. We ask this through Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I want to begin by moving back 1999, when Uganda Cooperative Bank closed. There was a gap. A gap was created whereby people who took advantage, like lenders, came in, other banks that came to the rural, and their aim is profit maximization.
Yes.
The people started getting loans from them at a very high interest rate, and even many lost their properties. This gap also was closed by creation of circles. Circles, I am one of those who started. I was in Rukunjiri, 1999, and actually that's when we started thinking of starting Kebisoni Circle. By the year 2000 we had started. But the impact it has created among the rural people is incredible. The interest rates, provision of loans, other services, trainings to the people, and as I talk now, the place is transformed. I went to Kabare district after 8 years, and I also was involved in mobilization of the members to join circles. As I talk now, I've been in Ixoro for 9 years or so. All of these are 27 years in circles. The impact that has been created is big. All of this we are preparing to start cooperative bank. Cooperative bank, of course, used to give better interest rates to the members, especially also cooperatives. After the closure, the rural people were disappointed. I am not going to go to the details, the reason why it closed, their mistakes. All of these 25 years, we have been learning and see what went wrong. If we start cooperative bank, are we going to succeed? As we have been, as Mr. Ivan has talked, we have been in national consultative meetings. We have realized that now this is the right time to start cooperative bank. And when it starts, we are going to give better interest rates to the members and the circles and unions, because the moment we enough capital, expect development in rural. I have been in all of these places, Nick Solo. The outcry is, how do we get capital to start bigger businesses? The circles don't have enough money. But of course, capitalization. In the whole country, we have over 45,000 circles and the other cooperatives. Now these, if each one can be able to pay only 10 million, it is trillion amount of money. It is going to be the biggest, the giant bank that will be able to transform the rural and the country as a whole. And you know, we are also internationally connected. We have International Cooperative Alliance that all will be able to come in, and don't expect that it will be like these traditional commercial banks. No, transform this country. Thank you.
Now, allow me bring in Nawende here from the Mwalimu Circle, of Mwalimu Union, that brings together all teachers' circles, like we just said. Now, first, help our viewer understand, how do circles cause this transformation? How are they started? Because most of the times we hear people say, form circles and government gives you money. So if I know and colleagues that when we come together, register, government is going to give us money, I'll definitely lure them, push them to form, and we get this amount of money. So what have been the pillars for the strength of these teachers' circles? Because some have really good cash flows in them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. A circle is formed when members of a common interest come together to draw up objectives that can champion their well-being. Currently, membership that requires want to form a circle, we need people between 20 to 30 people. So you will sit, do your objectives, and then decide on how you have to run a circle. It is not true that you should form a circle and be given money by government. No. One of the pillars of a circle is that it should be financed by its own members, by buying shares, by saving. And that's when you can come up with a very strong bond of a circle. Otherwise, if you may form a circle and then you wait for government to give you money, these cases don't last. So under the transformation, you realize that here circles are trying to help government to roll out the Millennium Development Goals. For example, ensuring that by the year 2015, all learners, all citizens in the country are supposed to have attained free education. So through circles, we are trying to empower our teachers. We are trying to empower the community to know that education is a right, it's not a privilege. So through such arrangements, our teachers, the community, are being empowered to ensure that all learners countrywide or worldwide are able to access education. Secondly, under the Millennium Development Goals, we are looking at eradication of poverty, which is a very big problem in our country. So through such arrangements, we only don't look at accessibility to money, but we can also look at the practices that we have to put in place to ensure that we save or we eliminate expenditure, unnecessary expenditure. For example, under poverty eradication, we shall try to empower our community, the teachers, to know about malnutrition, disease prevention. Disease prevention. Because if you make money and then you reluctantly decide to undertake on a disease which can easily be controlled, then you'll not be saving. That it means that whatever money you get, you'll be taken to hospital rather than saving. So those are the pillars that we need to focus on to ensure that our teachers, the community, countrywide, are empowered to have a projected human well-being so they can fit in society. We have the community engagement. In a society, you have to set goals within membership. In our community, I remember when we were young, the neighbors would set a target and say, we would like to ensure that everybody in this home or in this community at least has 35 banana plantations and an acre of coffee. So that at the end of the day, we know that food or food security shall be well secured. There will be areas of theft of stealing food because everybody will have access to food. So under such arrangements, it's good. So for us as teachers, we are in to promote the formation of the cooperative bank. Because when you look at our country, as teachers, we have the biggest workforce.
Yes.
We have about 200,000 teachers. And if these teachers are well mobilized, they will be able to support the cooperative bank. How? Now, when you look at the cost it takes to process a teacher's salary per month through these other commercial banks, each teacher contributes about 20,000 shillings monthly towards processing of one's salary. Now, when you compute the 20,000 shillings times 200,000 teachers per month, that means every month we give away 4 billion shillings to these banks. Now, suppose we brought our own bank and we make sure that every month our 4 billion shillings is put in our bank, that can create very good capital. When it comes to savings, and we also encourage our teachers to have a minimum of 20,000 shillings. That means to translate to also 4 billion shillings.
Okay.
When it comes to account management, per month, these commercial banks levy a fee between 8,000 to 10,000 as bank management fees.
Yes.
Now, when you try to compound it all, you find that at the end of the month, we are giving away about 160 million shillings per month. So here, I want to emphasize and say that it is the right time. We need to come together and promote our own bank.
Yes, Father, I wanted to say something. If I go to Ivan, please go ahead.
No, I want also to contribute towards what he has said. I want to thank him. One of the advantages of cooperative bank compared to other traditional banks, you know, it is member owned. Every year, before the closure of cooperative bank, the rural people used to receive trainings, and each member would be assured of a dividends at the end of the year. And this dividend, they would also be paid inputs free of charge, sponsorship, education. All of this went closed. All of these services were taken away from them. There has been an outcry for 25 years.
Okay.
How do we own it? How do we get our bank? I want to thank the government of Uganda, our president, who thought that really this is the right time for the cooperative bank. I know as it starts, I was calculating how if each circle, at least 50% of the circle, pay 10 million. We have the money. If I talk of the Wazalendo circle, how much they have capital?
Over 1 trillion.
Of 1 trillion. We expect to get at least a minimum of 200 trillions just from the members. And if we start, what about other partners? If they also come in and the other member, it will be the biggest bank in the whole country, even in East Africa. And we are ready because we have been preparing for 25 years.
Okay, so you've learned from your mistakes.
We have learned from not only our mistakes,
but the mistakes of the previous people.
Yes, and even well, I should not be able to talk to the about the government and so on.
Yes,
the government also is going to be more vigilant that such a mistakes don't happen again. You see, job creation. See how many people lost their jobs when it closed.
Let me bring in Ivan here. First and foremost, when we talk about the cooperative bank, it is good news to the cooperators to hear this, because it is member-owned, unlike these other commercial banks. And I believe if we want to build our economy, we must own the economy.
True.
There is no way we can build Uganda when it's not us Ugandans. Investors are good. We praise them. We love them. They give us jobs. But how better is it if we own our economy? If we have banks like the cooperative bank, totally owned by the people of Uganda who are cooperators. But Ivan, paint a better picture for our viewer, that when we talk about this cooperative bank, something you're pushing for, the consultative meetings were finished, parliament and all this, what is this going to be like? Because much as Father Safari talked about the good days, I must say, many may not have a clear picture of what's going to be, apart from hearing that we are going to be getting loans at less interest. So do I come here from TV, I need a loan, I apply, I get, yes.
Thank you so much, moderator. Of course, when you talk about the cooperative bank, you mean a bank for cooperators. And like the speakers have mentioned, we have over 45,000 registered cooperatives serving 18 million Ugandans. Those are so many. So if all of these people own the bank, what will happen to the economy? And like you have mentioned, yes, investors are very good, but is the economy sustainable? That's the question. Can you sustain it? Assuming something happened, how secure are we as a country? Secondly, I want to ask a question to our viewers. If you hear that Uganda is a part of Africa, and Africa is a continent gifted by nature, but you find the poor people, what is your thinking? What comes into your mind? Mr. Nabende has mentioned, we have over 200,000 teachers in this country. If every teacher contributed 100,000 per month for 1 year, they will mobilize 240 billion. And you only need 150 billion to register a bank. So it means that teachers in the country, and teachers kindly listen to me, we have been, why these are teachers who are giving us knowledge. So why don't we use this knowledge to develop ourselves? If you're a teacher, you're a graduate, you have bachelor's, master's, PhD, why don't we use this knowledge to really transform our lives and the lives of the common person? So ideally, this is a bank that will be owned, used, controlled, and benefiting all cooperators. We own it as cooperators. This is our bank. The way it is in Kenya, it's purely owned by cooperators. The way it is in Ethiopia, Oromia. The way it is in Tanzania, Kilimanjaro Cooperative Bank, Rabo Bank, and the other countries. This is what we are looking at. Having your own, which you control, which we use, everything is ours. Every year we go for annual general meetings. If there is comes to us, like as mentioned, all these deductions, salary deductions per month, amounting to around 4 billion. This is a lot of money. So if this money was coming to us as cooperators, then I tell you this country would transform. Talk about this government funding agricultural credit facility. Government got this money and injected it in commercial banks for farmers to access the money. But how many farmers have accessed this money? This is a question. So ideally, if it was a cooperative bank, then this money would trickle down to the last person through the cooperative structures, Kigez circles, union, let's say walimu, then to the teachers circles, and then to the teachers themselves, same as farmers and whichever category of people. This is what we are looking at. And another thing, I would want to tell our viewers and Ugandans in general, that we don't only come here to talk and talk. A bank is a giant. You don't need to rush with it. There's some people who have been asking, but you have been talking about this thing, this is the second year. You can even take 5 years to start a bank. It's not like a restaurant where you buy plates, saucepans and tables, then you come and open. A bank is a giant. So we have done all consultations. Cooperators across the country are willing, they are here. Yes. They are willing and ready to have their bank and even capitalize it. So what we are doing now, the awareness. And that's why I thank UBC for giving this opportunity. So once the community has been sensitized on the advantages of having a bank, themselves will initiate it. Because a bank should be initiated by the cooperators, not UCA on top. It should be a bottom-up approach. So this is what we are doing. And then after this, we are, like I mentioned, we are commencing a comprehensive study. The question you were asking, you had a cooperative bank and it closed. What happened? All of those questions will be answered in a comprehensive study. Then what is the legal framework, current and the desired? What are needs? What are all the variables that we need to study will be studied, and then eventually we get informed. Because the cooperators, mind you, when I'm there digging in my garden, I don't need that too much English and mathematics.
You only need...
For me, what I need is to know there is a bank, I go and open an account, I get money, and I go and do business. So for us at planning level, you must be very strategic. So all that we are doing is to make sure that we work on the infrastructure. What is needed? How? So the www.how. Everything, once we have the study, and the study shows that yes, it is viable for, these are the minimum requirements, capital, financial and non-financial, then you're good we to go. Now update the cooperators and have the bank up and running.
Okay, now here I want to bring in Stephen. For circles, these are usually people who are they have common interests, they're within the same sphere now. And the way they do their work is someone can even bring corato, which is their crops or something like that, because a circle member, if you're dealing in coffee, I'll speak of coffee, and of which those are going to, the registration exercise commenced for coffee farmers in the country, just so to let you know. And I know cooperatives, this is one of the group that government must meet. Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, I saw UCDA, you met religious leaders, but I think you must meet also the cooperators, because most of those that are in agricultural produce, and speak to them to enable them understand this better. Now, how then in the bank are these loans going to be gotten? What surety? Who is defending who? Mr. Nabende? Oh, because for the members of the Mwarim, it is very easy. No, this is a teacher in such a school, you know. If he's a teacher in such a school, from such a circle, we can identify them. Now when it comes to at a bigger level.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo. I think we need to appreciate the formation of these circles. And once they get empowered, I want to assure you this country will be developed. I want you to realize that today, whenever any product has been processed, or whenever a farmer has brought up some crops, under the liberal economy, everybody is free to sell or settle the products at will at their own negotiation powers. And that creates a lot of exploitation. Now, through SACCOs, I'm happy government has brought in the idea of e-receipting.
Yes.
Whereby now, if you have coffee and you feel you don't have enough market for it like today, you hand over this coffee to government. Yes, to government, and they take care of. So you will be given a receipt that will empower you to go to the school and negotiate with the head teacher. Say, please, I gave my coffee to government. They are looking for market. So in the meantime, allow my child continue studying. And in the case government pays me, then I will settle your bills.
Where is this? Sounds very interesting.
Yes. Yes.
Sure?
Yes. This is what is going to happen.
Father Safari, is this already happening in these areas?
Let me come back to you, Mr. Chirabo. As we talk now, what is taking place in the circles? People come and get credit, pay school fees, and then also at a very low interest rate. For those in agriculture, they are even given a grace period of some month. But now, when the cooperative bank starts, those who graduate from the circle, instead of going to commercial banks where they are exploited, they go to cooperative bank. And cooperative bank is not after profits. It's after community development and the members. And they know it is their bank. Present, what is happening, when money is not being used in the circle, it is banked in the link commercial circles. And this money, they get profit, comes to the cooperative bank, expect better services to the members. And I think the president and the government has seen it, the impact it has created. That's where they have brought parish development circles. They also inject in, and the government also come in. It has already come. I want to thank the government of Uganda for what it has done. And expect that, of course, with the coming of cooperative bank, expect also people to wake up, to support themselves. And the rural businesses will come up. For those who don't have funding, will go to it, the circle. The circle will recommend them to the cooperative bank for bigger funding so that it will create development in the whole country.
Very interesting there, and a lot of hope for our farmers, for our people there in the rural areas. But how soon is this good news? Because I remember the first time Ivan talked about the establishment of a cooperative bank. Time has moved. It's not very long ago. Because today a farmer watching us, any cooperator watching us is saying that should have been done yesterday. But Ivan, how quick can we have this?
How quick is dependent on how ready we are.
Yes.
So starting a bank is not about the time, but about readiness. Are you ready financially? Legally, are you ready? You may be ready with the money, but the legal framework, you need to go through processes. And that's why we are going to the comprehensive study to look at the legal, the financial, and any other variables that are required. So that finally we are there. So, you know, when you are playing football, the person watching, seated on the other side seeing you on TV, will realize your mistakes better. But if that person is brought to the pitch, football pitch, that's when he realizes that you did not make a mistake, that actually it is hard for it to play football. So some people may say, you know, these people have delayed, but I want to assure Ugandans, we need steady progress. Better be slow than rushing. And you see, the fact that we have a scar over the other cooperative bank, we do not want to walk in the dark and have the same challenge. We need to systematically move so that we do not regret any step. So when soon is not the issue, is when are we ready to have the bank going through all of those processes. But the bank will be there, we really commit ourselves and promise. The good thing is that the government is very positive. A cabinet memo was passed, and they are very positive. Of course, you see, as an apex body, you can't work in isolation. You must work with the government.
Yes.
Then as cooperatives, still, we need this government because government is our father, it's our shield. So sometimes when you are talking, people think that, no, you cannot do it with the government. You have to work in tandem. So, we are ready and willing to proceed. You have heard what the circles have done down there. I have been a general manager of a circle for 7 years, and I saw the socio-economic transformation downstream there, where even the lowest person who had never gone to a bank, because you know some people fear commercial banks,
yes,
entering to open an account, but it is easier for them to go to a circle. Because the circle is friendly to them, and these are their own people. So it is easy. Now, once a cooperative bank is there, like I mentioned, circles do not have enough capital. Let's say Father Safari may need 200 million for an investment, but the circle will not provide. But if now this circle was linked to the cooperative bank, then it is able to get loanable funds, so that even if Father Safari can get $1 billion as an individual at affordable and appropriate rate. And like he mentioned, a cooperative bank ideally does not focus on profits.
Yes.
But it focuses on the welfare of the cooperators and the Ugandans on a sustainable basis.
Well, very interesting. Hopefully, yes, Ivan says we shouldn't look at time, but it's how prepared we are. And starting a bank is no mean achievement. Now, coming back to Stephen here, one of the things, much as we are talking about the cooperative bank in rural transformation, something we are waiting for, but we've had a challenge even with circles. Mwalimu Union, I also know that you've also had some challenges here and there. One of them has been leadership. How best can we promote transparency, integrity, and successful leadership? You find that this year ends, you have so many circles standing. Next year, you have a challenge, some have dropped off.
Yes, thanks so much. As I mentioned earlier, some of these circles that are being formed are formed based on the side of receiving funds. People here, government is going to give money, then you just form a circle. And the formation of a circle in this case is just a matter of registering a circle, getting a certificate, and then you are given money. So we forget about all these other principles and processes that are required to run a circle. Because under normal circumstances, when you are ready to form a circle, it is a process. There should be mentorship. The registrar of cooperative must be with you, work with the area that you are now ready to run your own circle, and they issue a certificate. But today it is the reverse. Form a circle, then you just go and get a certificate and say, give us money, without being mentored. So that's why you find that governance has been a challenge. Yes. But now, under this kind of arrangement, more especially through the cooperative bank, some of these issues are going to be addressed. Before you are required to be a member of the cooperative bank, at least there should be some due diligence done to ensure that wherever you are, the leadership is strong enough to hold people's money. Otherwise, members will lose trust in the whole arrangement.
In the whole arrangement.
Yes.
Father Safari, I can see time seems to be flying, and very soon we must get out of here for more programming. But he has touched the element of leadership. Now the element of accountability. You're in the rural area, best there, where we know sometimes these are challenges. There is one man we named Chitabo, because for him he knew the safest way was to chew the book. How have you managed to successfully handle issues of accountability?
One of the activities we have been involved in for all of these 25 years, we enforce trainings, education, and then In this, we get the competent people to work, and supervision, or especially governance, different bodies are selected. The members are selected by the annual general meeting and others. This person from history is a good man, and that's why even the management, the staff, when recruiting, we don't just recruit somebody like that. We even follow his history. That's why many of the circles are successful. And we have learned from the past mistakes, and we don't think when we start the bank, as Mr. Ivan has said, we shall get into the same mistakes we passed through. And there has been also benchmarking. We have moved the consultative meeting throughout the whole country and even abroad. I want to thank Uganda Cooperative Alliance, especially our General Secretary, Mr. Ivan. I'm sure the mistakes that took place will never take place again. And we are determined, me as an individual plus others, to make sure that this bank is successful. Of course, we shall also be helped by the regulatory policies of the government and so on. The government is also helping us to see that the mistakes that took place in the past shall never be repeated again.
The mistakes that took place shall never be repeated again, as we move the establishment of a cooperative bank, something that many Ugandans can't wait to have. Most of the cooperators, people-owned, and of course decisions also following from the people. Now, Ivan, your concluding remarks.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank UBC again for this opportunity. I want to thank my bosses, Chairman Board, Walimu, and Chairman Board, Kigezi Circles Union, for educating Ugandans on the need for a cooperative bank. I want to call upon all Ugandans, wherever you are, let us have this idea. Let us see how best we can together form a bank. The question should not be when, but the question should be when are we ready? So, and I want to call upon everybody, let's be ready. Let's take this message. We don't want to rush you and then we crash along the way. Together, we need your support, we need your guidance. We know there are seniors outside there, the academia is there, the legal fraternity, the accountants, they are all there. Let's combine all our efforts together to have our own bank called the Cooperative Bank. I thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Ivan Asimwe, General Secretary, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Yes, sir, Father Safari.
As we conclude, I want to thank my brothers here, the members, for their presentation. I want to thank you. Yes. And I want to thank the government of Uganda for helping us in realizing our initiative. I believe the members are listening, and last week we had the annual general meeting of Ukusku, whereby all the circle chairmen and managers met, and we resolved that every circle, every cooperative is going to contribute share capital. We have seen what Mr. Ivan has said. As Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we are going also to move the ground and mobilize more. We are a big force. He has talked about the number of the members coming to 18 million people is not a small number. And this union institution, you have seen that we are strong enough to be able to start. Of course, we are going to have a competitive aspect of the money lenders, and because we are going to enter in their business and traditional banks, but we are prepared. We are going to cooperate. So thank you. Before you will give me time to bless the people, I hope. Thank you.
Finally, we'll bless them. Stephen, as we move out, in the interest of time, briefly.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chirabo. I think this show has been timely. Reason being that on the 5th October this month, we shall be celebrating World Teachers Day.
Okay.
And one of the components that shall be shared, I think, would be based on formation of a cultural bank. To us as teachers, we are really very, very prepared, and we are embracing this bank. Why? Because we have been overexploited by many lenders and other financing, and we have full hope that the teachers very soon will come on board to support. So I want to thank you once more for having hosted us. I want to assure all the stakeholders who are involved in the formation of this cooperative bank that the teachers fraternity is ready to give support and also to participate in the running of the organization and also in financing.
Well, thank you so much. Well, Father, you can now bless us and we move.
Let us pray. The name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty ever living God, we thank you for giving us this time. We thank you for blessing us. Thank you for blessing our country. We also thank you for blessing all the people, and especially in the poverty alleviation. We ask you to be with us and guide us in what we are doing. We ask this through Christ our Lord. The Lord be with you. Mighty God bless you. The Father and the Son, the Holy Spirit descend upon you and remain with you now and forever.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for being part of this show. We will leave room for more programming. See you in the next hour. Good morning.
Live